don't suck. That's all I'm trying to get at. Hi everybody, my name is Rosalie and welcome back to my channel, back to Chubby. Today's another weigh-in video, but there's also something else I want to talk about. So let's go ahead and get the weigh-in out of the way, and then we will move on to the thing I want to discuss with you.
Hello. It's ready. £368.0 pounds.
Okay, so I stayed exactly the same this week. I didn't gain or lose anything, and I kind of expected it to happen. Last week, if you watched my weigh-in, you know I was pretty grumpy because I gained a few pounds, and I said in the video that I didn't think I was going to start my period or anything, and then sure enough, as soon as I made the video public for everybody to see, I started, like, right then. Like, it was uncanny. I had just finished my period the week before, and so I thought that it wasn't going to happen again, but since I have PCOS, I have irregular cycles. It can be like a week between periods, it can be 6 months between periods. My periods could be like 3 days, they could be, I think the longest one was about 6 months, but on average they can be about 2 weeks. They suck hardcore. And so I really didn't expect to lose very much, and if you follow me on Snapchat or Instagram, you could see that I posted last night that my feet and my ankles were really swollen, so I could tell I was going to hold on to a lot of water weight. I just wasn't expecting a good number this week. I'm just glad I didn't gain again this week because so far, and I'm sure it'll happen eventually, but so far I haven't gained 2 weeks in a row on this weight loss journey, but this plateau is just sort of bumming me out. So in addition to my period, a lot of people have mentioned that it's probably additional water weight because I have been moving around and exercising more. Some of you who've been around for a while know I've been calorie cycling. We're basically trying to move through this range of calories to keep my body from adjusting to that set amount and plateauing, which was working for a while. Several people have suggested I should increase my calories, and for a long time I really didn't think I needed to because I wasn't moving very much. I did not burn very much. My T/E was not much higher than my BMR because I hardly ever moved. I would take maybe 1,000 steps in a day. I'm at like 4,000 or 5,000 steps in a day, just all of a sudden. I've been like getting up and down on ladders and mopping and cleaning windows, so doing a lot more activity and moving that's not necessarily steps that this is gonna track. So I have been moving a lot more, so now I think maybe I do need to increase my calories. I'm a little bit nervous about it though because, as you know, when you increase your calories, you also tend to put on weight, especially if your body has adjusted to that amount of calories. So if I do sort of a refeed or a reset, I have a feeling that my weight's gonna spike for a little bit before it adjusts again. And it's something mentally I need to work through. I just do not want to go higher. I don't want to gain any more weight, obviously. As far as increasing my calories go, I'm also already having a hard time sort of balancing my macros and keeping the sodium low and only getting it up to like 1,400 or 1,500 calories. You know what? Let's save all this for next week. I'll talk more about the meal plan and what I figured out and what I plan to do when I talk about the meal plan next week. For now, that's not what I want to talk about in this video. I wrote a blog post about this as well, so if you also follow my blog, this is probably going to be a lot of overlap here, but things in the world suck sometimes. And a lot of times, people suck too. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen terrible things happening in the news. Terrible things always happen. Terrible things happen everywhere, every day, to millions of people. There's terrible things you never hear about and you never see. But there have also been things bad enough lately that they've been making national and international news. Like a lot of people, all I did and do usually is sit there and be upset about it and then not do anything. Well, then some random guy was an asshole and left some comment. The comment doesn't matter. The point is, I was sitting there thinking, there are all these awful, terrible things happening everywhere in the world. And at the very least, a lot of them are happening because someone has some very deeply held belief, and they feel like they're doing something right when they do something awful to other people. I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but I could just keep thinking, like, what is the point? Just being a sucky person for no reason. Why would you make the world a worse place than it already is when you don't have some agenda you're trying to advance, and you don't have some deeply held belief, and you don't have anything to gain by being a bad person? You just suck. Why would you make everything suck more when so much already sucks for so many people? And so normally I do the same thing with those that I do when I watch the news. I feel bad about it, I delete it, I move on. And don't get me wrong, before I go any further, I am not equating some asshole on the internet with the awful things that we're seeing in the news. I'm just saying this was sort of a catalyst for me, and I don't know if it's just because I was in a mood or what. I'm not equating the two, and I'm in no way saying they're the same. I'm just saying this one guy just sort of was like the straw, if you know what I mean. But I've been in kind of a mood the last several days, maybe partially because I'm on my period, and my first instinct was to actually sort of passive-aggressively lash out at that person, and rather than just sort of sitting there and taking it. But then I decided, rather than being angry about it and internalizing that anger and then just being myself sucky to someone else because I was mad about some rando on the internet, I decided that maybe I should actively try to not suck. I mean, that guy was just a sucky person, and there are sucky people everywhere, and I don't need to let those sucky people make me a sucky person for someone else, because like I said, there are people everywhere who are going through enough right now. So I decided to try and actively do something decent. I don't think I'm alone in saying that there are often times where you feel like you should do more for people and you don't. And a lot of us, I feel, probably the most we ever get around to is dropping our old stuff off at Goodwill. And mostly, if we're honest, that's for us to get it out of our house. I don't feel like that's enough. So I want to take a minute and just encourage everybody to just do something decent for somebody. And if you don't have some money to donate, maybe donate your time, or just give someone a real genuine compliment, or hold the door for someone, or maybe just don't, I don't know, give a mom with a screaming kid a dirty look. Just don't suck. That's all I'm trying to get at. Like, there's so much suck happening all the time. Just don't contribute to it. Even better, maybe do something to actively try and decrease it. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've seen the Vlog Brothers, have seen like their organization, the organization to decrease world suck. Like, they take money and they try and give it to charities, and essentially I'm advocating doing something like that. So, for example, today and yesterday, I've spent a lot of time going through the statistics on endthebacklog.org. If I have any fellow murderinos out there, I heard it on one of my favorite podcasts, My Favorite Murder, and I had been thinking about it a lot. Just for whatever reason, I decided now was the time to start actually getting involved. So I don't have a lot of money to give. I don't really live close to a center where I can help out or donate, but what I can do is write emails or letters to senators, or make some phone calls, or make a YouTube video about it, or post it on my social media or a blog post, and just try and help spread awareness. The reason that this particular organization was in my mind was because of the podcast, but there's plenty of other things you can do out there. If you're not familiar with End The Backlog, some of you might find this uncomfortable to talk about, but when someone experiences rape and they take a rape kit, oftentimes nothing happens with that kit. Any DNA or hair samples or things like that they get put in the kit, and they get sent off somewhere, and then the state doesn't have enough money or manpower to test it. And then what's worse, it's not even logged or cataloged or tracked. Half the time they lose the rape kits. They'll have rape kits that they don't even know who they belong to, that they didn't even know they still had in their possession. They'll have things that they have just never gotten to, and then a lot of the backlog ones that they do eventually get to, they'll find out that there are serial perpetrators. So the same perpetrator has done numerous attacks, but there's nothing they can do because it's too old or they don't know who it belongs to. It's just really upsetting because, like, if you go to endthebacklog.org, which I'll put a link to down in the description box below, you can go to your state and you can see what the situation is. So some states don't require that they be tracked. Some states don't require that victims are ever followed up with on the status of their kit. Some states don't require that they go through the backlog. Some states have never audited the backlog. They don't even know how many they have. So, for example, in my state, there are over 2,000 untested backlogged rape kits. And that sounds like a lot, but it's one of the lowest states. There are at least 5 states, like Florida and Ohio and a couple others, that have over 10,000 backlogged rape kits. Texas has over 19,000. And then there are, I want to say 12 states that have no idea how many they have. They've never even bothered to count. And without those kits, the likelihood of the issue ever going to trial is much, much lower. And if it does go to trial, if they can't then find the kit, or if the kit has been corrupted because it was stored improperly, the likelihood that there will actually be a prosecution plummets. Just trying to get your state to catalog the kits. And by catalog, I mean give it a case number, put a person's name on it, put a date on it, figure out where it came from and where it's stored. I don't think that's too hard. I don't think it's too much to ask that states keep an inventory of the evidence they have. As with everything, especially in government, funding and manpower are 2 big issues. So that's part of what End The Backlog is trying to fix. At the very least, they're trying to get states to figure out how many rape kits they have. After that, they're trying to get them to perform an annual audit maybe. So just once a year, figure out how many you have and what you can go through. Funding, of course, they're always looking for money, but also just helping, like, write to your senator and saying, hey, our state has 2,000 untested rape kits. Maybe you could, like, I don't know, enter them into a spreadsheet or something. That's a start. Anyway, there's all kinds of things you can do to try and actively decrease the suck in the world. And I just wanted to take a minute and encourage you to do that. Okay, so I know that's what most of you did not come here to see me rant about, but I just felt I should share it. I hope wherever you guys are, you are safe and happy and healthy, that your day doesn't suck, and that you're just decent to each other. I will see you on Monday.